Let me get it set up. Thank you for reminding me. I totally forgot.
Instructor Morris, what do we need to know about ACTH hormone? The only reason why I'm asking because it's on your study guide. I'm looking at it on my phone.
I want you to look it up and then you tell me. Look it up and make sure you understand it.
Let
me find out where this went here. There we go. Oh, that's the wrong one. There we go. All right, let me pull up this other one.
Do you just want us to know that it targets the adrenal cortex and secretes the cortisol or something like that?
Mm-hmm. All right, I'm almost got you guys here. Man, this thing.
We got about 3 minutes till 45.
Okay. All right, so let's take a break. Then we will just kind of breeze through the chapter 7 PowerPoint to see where everybody's at and see if there's any questions and all that. So let's take 15 minutes.
Quick question, Instructor Moore.
All right, what you got?
So I know you were talking about the so this is about the acidosis and alkalosis.
Mm-hmm.
I know you said the alkalosis is when you're breathing faster. So when you're breathing faster, wouldn't your respiratory rate be higher? Or
Yeah, that's right. If you're breathing faster, your respiratory rate is faster.
so while on one of the questions, it was like they was breathing 30 times a minute. Their respiratory rate was 30 times a minute, but the answer was respiratory acidosis.
Are they breathing 30 times per minute and in distress?
Yes, I was in distress.
So if that means if they're breathing 30 times per minute and in distress, that they're
it's not
go ahead.
No, keep going, I'm listening.
That they're probably not expelling all of the CO2 out because of because of bronchial constriction maybe, or something like that. That makes
Okay. Yeah, because so even though their respiratory rate was high, their CO2 was still elevated.
Right,
Okay.
because they're in distress.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So that goes with the example that you did at the beginning, because you said like the breathing increases. As breathing increases, and you said respiratory rate increases too. You said the CO2 was gonna go down.
Correct. It will, like if in general, without somebody being in respiratory distress.
Okay, so when you were just saying like breathing is going up, you mean basically that they're breathing normally, like they're just breathing normal.
Right. Exactly. That was just a pure example. If I said, the patient's in respiratory distress, then we're going to assume that the patient's, probably hypoxic and retaining CO2. Now,
Okay.
they'll paint that picture for you like that. But in general, if I'm not in distress and I'm just breathing really fast, I'm blowing off CO2.
So that you are just hyperventilating
Right.
at that point. Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely right. What?
The open market. The cells into the market and then move the vines into a dark pool. Okay, this implies that dark pool does not affect the price of the markets themselves. Right, and this is very logical. Humans are conclusion driven first, right? And so you can put the cells in the lymph exchanges, put the vines in the dark pool. Now let's push it down on the cell button without any of the vine button. So that is not fair. However, dark pools differ from lit exchanges based on the price quotes. So when you're trading a dark pool, you rewrite an existing quote.
So the most,
Yeah,
will there be a time there's more solute than solvent?
what's the solute?
It's like a sugar.
It's like the what?
It's like a sugar. Solvent is the water.
So is there ever a time that you could have more sugar than what's water in there?
Oh, like in your body?
Yeah.
Oh no, okay. No, I don't think there is.
Yeah, I mean, you could do it in the lab, but I don't think you can do it in your body.
Right, okay. Okay.
Future, whether it's on like Cash App or PayPal, it's like how can this exist? Why doesn't the government pay attention to transactions that happen in the shadow, Venmo and Cash App, like these ecosystems? And then you're like, wait, so people could make it easier to send each other money for friendship and splitting the bill and stuff like that. So that there was always a reason for these underregulated, let's call it underregulated. Because FINRA technically has to approve each and every dark pool, but let's say that these are underregulated exchanges that don't obey the same rules because they meant to lower the barriers to entry. RuneScape OG. Question is, do I wait or do I just buy AEMT? I can't imagine why that's a good user. Deontay said, doing this, slap that like button and numbers between virtue. Yeah. So this is how you find.
All right, let's go through it. This probably looks familiar. This is, a lot of this will be from, a lot of this is from EMT. So the skeletal system, the functions of the function, yeah, well, I guess functions, skeletal system, right? Connect, provides that structure for the skin and everything else to support. Has that also the production of calcium, right? And so let's talk about the integumentary system. Your skin is the largest organ system. Protects us from bacteria, viruses. So it has that, infection fighting going on for it. It helps to regulate our body's temperature. And it's not the primary organ that eliminates waste, but it has a function in eliminating waste when we sweat. Pretty cool.
Sir?
Yep.
I don't want to derail you too long. So just if you could quickly explain the difference between bacteria, fungi, just a quick recap on that one.
between bacteria, fungi.
Yeah, I just get confused with those things when I see them repeated throughout the chapter.
Okay, so like a bacterial infection is a, it's a gram type bacteria versus fungal. Well, fungal is a fungus. It's not a bacteria. And so I don't know really other than a way to say it other than the structure of the bacteria as far as cell structure goes is completely different than that of a fungus or fungal.
That's okay. I'll look it up later.
Sorry. What is, hang on one second. Okay. All right, never mind. All right, so yeah. So infection regulates body temperature, that sort of thing. The muscular system, remember there's 3 different types of muscle that we looked at: skeletal, smooth, and cardiac. We talked about yesterday about automaticity being that of cardiac cells. Smooth muscle cells or smooth muscle, we know that moves substances around, like in your intestines, right? That's where we find it. We find it in your bronchioles, your trachea, right? And then we have skeletal muscle. Skeletal muscle is mostly, or yeah, voluntary, right? And if I want to pick up a coffee cup, well, I'm using those skeletal muscles in my forearm, right? My elbow, shoulder. So that's your skeletal muscles. The nervous system, right? So we talk about the nervous system. We know about the central nervous system consisting of the brain and the spinal cord, but we also have the peripheral nervous system as well that connects every other part of the body to the CNS. And we've learned about the sympathetic nervous system, the parasympathetic nervous system. And so then the endocrine system. So it's responsible for secreting chemicals and hormones made by glands. All right, and then those hormones are transported by the circulatory system to get to where they're going. The cardiovascular system, right? So we know it's going to move O2 and CO2 and other hormones around the body. Cardiovascular system consists of that heart, arteries, veins. The lymphatic system. So it has like that. This is one that always remember if you're dealing with a lymph nodes, a duct, you're dealing with lymphatic system, right? And so examples of that are your tonsils, right? Your spleen. And its job is to move something called the lymph around. And that's really white blood cells, stuff like that. And Campbell, absolutely, if you're still here. Yep, not a problem. I said that earlier. I will post this to the site once we're done. All right. So yeah, that's what the lymphatic system does. It helps to move white blood cells around. It puts them in those places that are tight that otherwise I couldn't get to without it. Should be at this point in time very familiar with this system, the respiratory system. We know a lot about how it buffers to maintain that normal acid-base balance. It's one of the big players. And the digestive system, well, it's a major part of getting that food broken down and getting everything that it can get out of the food. So that those minerals and things can be used for metabolism. And the urinary system. Well, we learn now that it's a filter, but it's more, besides filtering, well, not really besides filtering, but through filtering, we can continue to keep sodium bicarbonate in our system, which helps with the acid-base balance. Or we know that it can filter hydrogen ions. But its primary, one of the primary things it does is filters urea. And then the reproductive systems, we're kind of familiar on what they do for the male and female. And we'll talk more about the immune system later. We get a little deeper into it too, but it defends us against bacteria, viruses, pathogens, right? And the primary person in the immune system that we kind of know about, the white blood cell. But we know the bone marrow is the actual producer of all the blood cells. So that's where it plays a role here. And the lymph nodes, right? They kind of slow down the bacteria if your lymph nodes traps it sometimes, and traps the bacteria or an invading pathogen. All right. And so we talked about this the other day too, how bones are classified by shape. It provides protection, allows for us to be able to move it. And another big deal is it stores minerals and produces blood cells. So know the parts of the appendicular skeleton, and all you got to do is know that it includes pelvis, upper and lower, and know that the axial skeleton is the skull, spinal column, and thorax. So when we do IOs, interosseous, we're going to be drilling into a bone, and we'll be drilling into this part right here is this bone marrow, right? We're going to drill right through there because we can access this as a means of providing drugs and fluids to access the circulatory system. All right, so bones, again, long bones consist of, right, we know that shaft called the diaphysis. The ends are the epiphysis, but that's where that growth plate is, right? The epithelial plate. Know that, you'll see that again. There's nothing about joints on this exam. And so here we go. So that's part of the obstacles for hearing. Nothing on the exam about that. The cranial bulk, but we need to know, you know, the big players, really, the stuff you already know. I don't remember any anything on the exam pertaining to the location of even the occipital bone right now. There's a question there's a question about the facial bones, but I've already kind of leaked it out about the orbital fracture. I mean, it's not to say that you guys won't get these questions in AEMT, but the whole thing about AEMT school is not repeating everything we learned in EMT school. So those questions are still applicable occasionally, but it's not about repeating stuff that you've already shown that you're competent in. Know where the thyroid is, right? Be able to know where it is, and know that the thyroid produces something that makes calcium. So know what that is. Back up. There might be something on the exam about where the aorta comes down and changes names from its abdominal aorta. It changes names when it gets right here at the pelvis, though. And here's your descending aorta. But once it gets down a little ways, it changes names. And when I see it, I'll point it out. But you should know that name. I mean, there's probably going to be questions about diffusion on the exam, but that should be gravy at this point. All of that's just stuff that I mean, I swear to God, if we don't know anything, we know all this. All right, so let's talk about this real quick. So we're, it's whether our drive to breathe, it depends on our levels of CO2. We know that. But the other thing is, for the mechanical process to work, it's all about the amount of pressure. When we talked about atmospheric pressure, it's about that pressure that's inside the thoracic cavity that allows the lungs to expand, right, and to contract. So it's all about the pleural pressure.
Instructor Morris,
Yeah.
Grim said he got kicked out.
Okay. Oh, I see him there. I got him. He was locked in though. Don't get it. Remember what that phrenic nerve does, right? That you'll see that again. So it it innervates. That's a message route from the respiratory center of the brain down to the diaphragm that stimulates the diaphragm to contract. Don't forget hypoxic drive being the backup system, right? It's the backup system to the hypercapnic or hypocapnic type respiration that we're already on. The main respiratory stimulus is that carbon dioxide levels in the blood. Hypoxic drive is a backup. Don't forget, it's the chemoreceptors, right? So we find those in the arch of the aorta. We find those in the carotids. And central chemoreceptors are up here in the medulla oblongata. Not saying they won't stimulate a response to O2, but it would be pretty late before that they would get involved in a normal patient. So here we go again. Acid definitely increases in the concentration of hydrogen ions. We talked about the base. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I got the stomach to keep covering acid base. I mean, I do, but I don't. I think you guys are out there are getting there pretty well. Here's your pH scale. Remember the blood, 7.35 to 7.45. That's the range for blood. So if you are 7.30, right, you could be acidic. If you're 7.49, that could mean that you're alkalotic. There's another representation of the pH scale. So this represents metabolic acidosis. It can occur from something other than respiratory. The example here, diabetic ketoacidosis. Your buffer systems here. I was using this as an example at the 1 o'clock meeting yesterday. I won't ask you anything about the DRG or the BRG. Tidal volumes, there's the definition for it if you forgot it. We talked about this yesterday a little bit too. You'll need to know this. Need to know the 3 layers. Let me try to fix this real quick. I don't think it'll let me on slideshow, but you'll need to know about the intima, media, and adventia, and be able to know that where those are.
Instructor?
Yep.
Can you tell us quickly which one is in the artery and which one is in the vein? Or is that how that works?
I'm sorry, which one, what?
I'm seeing three pictures and 3 definitions. So I'm assuming one's in the vein and one's in the artery.
They both have those 3 layers.
Roger that. I was just looking for a way to memorize them.
Yeah, I remember it as intima is the one on the inside because it's intimate, it's the closest. And then media is middle, and then the last one's the adventitia.
That makes sense.
Yeah. All right, guys. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to post these slides to the site. I'm going to do that. I'm going to let you guys work through the study guide. So that you guys, can kind of go through there, see what you need to know, and come up with some questions for me. Because I just can't present anything else in here that you guys don't already know. I don't know where we're at as a group as far as who's needing what, but there's just no new material from this chapter for me to present that I haven't already presented. So why don't you guys take the rest of the day, look over the study guide. Now, I mean it, don't come to me. I'm not answering the questions for you on the study guide. I'm going to say it again. I'm not going to answer the questions for you for the study guide. So if we, those of you guys who come back at 1 o'clock, and if you read me a question that's verbatim from that study guide, it'll be the last study guide that I do. I promise. So I put the study guide out there because that's an area that there's a question revolving around. So look over that. If you are reading something that you just don't get, then present it, the part to me that you don't get, so I'll know where you're at and I'll know better how to help you. But I'm not going to just answer it, because if I just answered it, then it may not be answering the intent I had for that question anyway, was for you to learn, maybe an area around that subject matter. So read over it, take a look at it, and let me know how I can help you. Still open at 1 o'clock to go over acid base if we need to. Like, don't be afraid, like if you're not getting something on acid base, to come at 1 o'clock and say, I just don't get this. Can we do it again? I'll do it all day. I just don't want to do it all day for those folks out there who are like, I'm going to throw up if I hear hydrogen one more time. So that's what I'm trying to avoid. So read over this stuff. Again, I'm not covering how blood flows through the heart, because we know that. But if you're struggling with that, you need to let me know so that we could go through it. If you don't understand how diffusion works, right, then I'm not covering that, but I'll be glad to go over it. And that sort of thing. But I think that's probably our best bet. Give you guys some time to pick through the study guide a little bit and to kind of go from there. Questions, comments? Oh yeah, let me say too, the book thing, they sent me the wrong book for the ebook. They sent me an EMT book. So I've emailed them again. Hopefully they'll send me some more stuff out so that we can get that corrected. But any more questions, comments, concerns? Thoughts? Ideas? And Barker, you got anything?
No, I don't believe so. Just trying to stay locked in,
Me too. I try to stay locked in as much as I can. I've read a book the other day, How to Stay Locked In.
Again, always. We always locked in.
Written by Grimm.
Who's the author?
Grimm, of course.
My last name was Grimm, I think. How to Stay Locked In.
Yeah.
He was a firefighter.
I'll make sure to.
The firefighter had, all the stuff. This book was awesome.
He was a dancer too.
Washed up football player.
Definitely going to order on Amazon.
The ebook is dropping soon.
with delivery. I need
Read by Grimm. I need to square my life away with this book. Need to lock myself in.
I don't know. I was been missing it all along.
Are we free to go?
I see you, Suda. Hold it back.
What's the rush?
Suda,
Yeah, what's the rush, Jenkins?
hang out, man.
Hold it all in, Suda.
I didn't say.
He's just trying to get out of that burning house that he's
You
in.
can see it on your
Well,
face.
He's got that stupid helmet on that guy. He needs to take
He
it
wants
off.
to leave so bad. Even his dog thinks he's a butthole sometimes, you know. Even your dog's trying to get you to just to chill out.
Suda wear his butthole personality on his
We're
sleeve.
chilling. We're hanging out. Y'all are all coming at me. This is the one that thinks that a book is going to solve all his problems.
Amazing how
Soon
you
as-
catch into my
soon as,
pseudo, but all right.
As soon as I hear about next week, I'll let you guys know. I'll send it out. I mean, I'm assuming we'll be doing this virtual thing, but maybe not.
Great.
And if you got, like I said, yeah, if you guys have anything that comes up, let me know. 1 o'clock, I'll be back. I'll be here to field questions. I'm just at a loss. I don't know where everybody's at. And I don't know, I don't know what you need. Just need to know what you need so I can help you.
Study guide's pretty in depth technically. Like if you went through line by line and really dug into every line, I mean.
I agree. I agree. It is. But some of that subject matter, you're like, I got it, And some of it you might say, oh, I thought I had this after reading it. Maybe I don't. And that sort of thing.
Yeah, it may spark some interest in something you thought you had for sure.
I'll put a quiz out too. And see where, see if I can put a quiz out to maybe stimulate some learning, some stuff on that. So I'll put that on the Barnes and Jones and Bartlett side.
Sweet.
All right.
Cool.
All right, guys. I will see y'all at those of you come back. I'll see you at 1 o'clock.
Thank you.
Thank y'all. I appreciate it.
See you guys.
17.
Do.